Muy buenas noches, yo soy Carlos Fernando Villa y esta es la serie internacional 2013 de Tiempo de Mercadeo. En Cleveland vive una de las consultoras de mercadeo de mayor fama en el mundo. Ella es asiática, pero se residenció en esta ciudad del estado de Ohio. Con ella vamos a hablar sobre lo que son las estrategias del mercadeo en un momento como el que vive el mundo, complicado y difícil. Ivana Taylor está con nosotros dentro de unos segundos. Ya volvemos. Ivana, good evening and welcome to my program. It's an honor to have you here.
And it is an honor to have you here. I'm really thrilled that you're visiting.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for accepting my invitation. Let me start by asking you, have you seen anything new in marketing?
Well, there are new things in marketing all the time. In fact, things are so new that everything old is new again. So I would say, let's talk about a couple of the new things that I've seen recently. The old thing is relationships, right?
Yeah. That's nothing new.
Nothing new in the importance of relationships, right? However, I think what is new is how much more important that they've become because they've kind of gone virtual with the advent of social media and internet communications, whether it's with email or whether it's with video or even
Or
using mobile phones, all of these things. On the one hand, they separate us because we can work from our homes. Yet on the other hand, they force us to want to be together more often. And they force us to develop relationships a certain way. So what I think business owners will find is that whereas we meet for the first time face to face and we have to get to know each other, what happens is a lot of that initial getting to know you happens virtually. And so I think that there is an etiquette to that and there is a method to that that if done properly can really make a difference for small businesses.
And haven't you seen marketers so afraid of something lately because of this competition and a lot of companies from all over the world in a global market? Marketers have become, to me, nervous and afraid of losing customers, losing market, and they have to do something. Have you seen those marketers afraid and worried?
I have seen marketers really become worried, and I think that the reason that they're worried is because another big change that's happened recently is marketers have been used to what I would consider top-down communication, or maybe one-way communication.
One-way communication, yeah. Instead of a dialogue or a two-way communication, they have been using one-way communication.
That's exactly right. We get to tell our audience what to think of us. We put out campaigns and they get to think that we're a wonderful company or that we're progressive or whatever we choose to put out into the world. That's the way it used to be. And these days, that's really changed. There's more of a grassroots. So in essence, instead of you're defining how your company is perceived, what has marketers rattled is that their customers are starting to define how they are perceived.
Like Alan Bigberg put it some years ago, about 10, 12 years ago, when he said, now customers are going to position the companies and the products, not the companies, but the customers.
That's correct. And then what's really going to make a difference, where marketers, what we as marketers have to do, is that we have to change our mind about that. Instead of assuming that that is wrong, just because it's not the way we did it before, what really helps is to recontextualize the whole thing and see it as a huge positive. After all, instead of us trying to find customers, our customers now have the ability to find us.
Would you say that we marketers have to think about the customers and forget about sales?
Oh my goodness, no. We can never forget about sales.
Not forget, I mean, not to be taken literally.
Of course.
But worry more about customers than sales, because that's what sales managers are for, and marketing managers are for, customers.
You know, it's interesting that you say that. I think the way I look at it is I like to look at, I picture a butler with a butler, someone who serves you,
Yeah.
and he comes to you with a giant silver tray. And on that silver tray are all the components of your offer and what you have to sell.
I know what you're gonna say then.
Yes, right? So the marketers, we are the ones who put the things upon the tray.
Yeah, we fill the tray
We fill the tray and then we send it off out
and
into
let
the
the
world,
customer take whatever he wants.
and the customer and the butler serves, right? And so I think that there is a symbiotic relationship between marketing and sales, and probably
I
more
like
so
that. Okay,
now.
I like it.
Yeah, and you know, I've had a change of heart recently. I can't believe it. It must be age. I've, I've changed my mind. I have spent the last 20 years arguing of how different marketing is from sales.
Yes, of course. I remember Jim Garofalo, he wrote a book about that.
Absolutely. And I think that maybe because I work with so many small businesses who don't have the luxury of having a big sales force or having a big marketing department,
Even big companies.
yeah, I mean, I think that I've really come to terms with the fact that sales and marketing must play nice together.
I wouldn't say just sales and marketing, but production, service to customer, engineering, accountants, accountability.
Absolutely. We are all in the marketing business today. I think as marketers, we like to say that a lot, but I think that we are all in the marketing business because everyone has, I shouldn't say everyone, but many of your employees have social media accounts.
Absolutely.
They're making an impression about who you are as a company and the values that you stand for by being out into the world and talking about your products and your services. It makes a real difference.
I think that marketers have to realize what Peter Drucker and Ted Levitt said all the time. The purpose of marketing is to create and maintain a customer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No matter what you do or what you are in you're in politics, in sports, in religion, whatever. You have to create a market and maintain the market.
Exactly. And I think that the difference I've noticed in the last 20 years or so is I've experienced a shift. Not the philosophy that our purpose is to collect and maintain our customers.
That's not going to change.
That's not going to change. But I think it's how we do this that's really changed.
Yeah, that's what changes.
I think that companies, again, especially more in terms of smaller businesses, not mega corporations, but like you said, maybe that's changing as well. Our customers care about what our companies stand for, and they make their choices that way. So who a company is in the world suddenly matters. I did an interview with Tim Sanders, who quoted a recent study that says for the first time, customers, and these are people, let's call it demographic like in their 30s and later, for the first time, they're saying that what a company stands for is critical in their decision on whether they're going to purchase from them or not.
Absolutely.
And that is the first time that he says that he's seen that.
Okay, Iván, let's go to a commercial break and we'll be right back, okay? Vamos a unos comerciales y ya estamos de nuevo con ustedes. Ya regresamos. Ana, those changes in the marketing field and in marketers, are they because of the competition, you think, or because of technology? I know you're going to say everything's, everything. But China has made a lot of marketers nervous. Why is that? And what are we supposed to do? So many marketers are talking about loyalty, about how to retain customers, and you are really good at that, I know. So what do you have to say about it?
When it comes to loyalty, customers are really, I've really narrowed it down to 3 questions that few companies really consider. Again, because of this, we're so used to this one-way communication. We're used to just saying what we want to say or what we want people to think, but now it's shifted around. And again, most of the people that I interact with are nervous about China because they think, again, we've been used to talking about price and the Chinese product is cheaper. So let's kind of regroup and take what we've talked about already about who you are in the world as a company, what you're committed to, and what your customers can count on you for. Those are the three critical questions. That's one set of branding questions that really define why a customer will choose you over and over again. So the companies that have answered those questions, and not just answered them, but are able to live them.
Yes.
And their employees are able to live them. Those companies are not having issues with competition because they're putting that added value into the offer. It's part of their offer. Who they are is part of the offer.
You just mentioned something that is becoming a big trouble to many companies. Added value. So I interrupted you because I would like you to tell everybody what added value is.
And so added value, to your point, has evolved. And we've been talking about the idea of experience marketing and selling the experience, right? Because there are a lot of brick and mortar businesses that are suffering, maybe whether the competition is now online, like your customer is now purchasing things online, like bookstores. We've lost a lot of bookstores.
Well, I just read something about it, and whoever wrote that article said that, in 15 years from now, shopping malls are going to be out.
Unless they figure out a way.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Improve that experience. I heard a wonderful interview on the radio the other day where they were addressing this exact problem. They're saying instead of fighting the fact that our customers are purchasing online, let's embrace that and say, go ahead and purchase online, but you want to come, say, to the Apple store to have a certain experience. Or there is another store that's a...
Macy's is doing that.
And yeah, say more about that.
Yeah, Macy's is doing it. Macy's is creating or giving the customers experiences. I mean, you go into Macy's and they will offer you a glass of wine and some crackers and cheese and music and entertainment in the store so that people keep coming to the store instead of, buying online. Because statistics are saying that young people, 80% of young people are buying online. They rather buy online than, going to a physical place or a shopping mall.
Yes, it's a completely different experience. So I read a lot of books, and I receive a lot of books, and I purchase a lot of books. Some books I purchase on Kindle, some books I purchase just on Amazon that come up, but that is for my reading experience. That is not the same as going to a bookstore, meeting with a friend, having a cup of coffee, discussing a book, just being in the space of browsing books is a completely different experience, discovering something versus searching and finding something. So I think that those experiences, depending on where you are in the world, no foreign competitor can give you that local experience.
And like I say, nothing against academicians, but the books that people should read. I mean, one academic book is one academic book, and that's going to be all the books that are academics are going to say the same thing. You have to read experience.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get back to China, Chinese products, and what's happening in the marketplace.
So, I don't know what you've heard about this, but I've had a couple manufacturing clients and colleagues actually bring products back from China to be manufactured here. In the United States right now, one of the big trends is this natural gas growth.
Yes.
And we have a lot of automotive manufacturers who are converting their products to natural gas. And one of the interesting things in this particular marketplace is that the number one marketing message, or what the number one question that customers have is it made in the United States? And for reasons that might surprise you, not because they're extremely patriotic, but rather because being made in the United States is a shortcut for safe, high quality, uh, done correctly, quality I can trust, to the point where when the sales reps that I work with do go to China, they're actually going to China to sell. So I'm starting to see a shift away from that. And I guess what I would say to marketers who are focused on building loyalty, I don't know how this sounds, but I want to say acknowledge what's going on in China, but don't let that be the center of your strategy. Don't develop a strategy because of what's going out there. I have another three questions that I love to ask, and that is maybe it's four questions, right? What is your strength, right? That the first three questions we talked about, right? Who are you in the world? What are you committed to? And what can your customers count on you for? That's one important component to answer. that, if done properly, can really make a difference for small businesses.
And haven't you seen marketers so afraid of something lately because of this competition and a lot of companies from all over the world in a global market? Marketers have become, to me, nervous and afraid of losing customers, losing market, and they have to do something. Have you seen those marketers afraid and worried?
I have seen marketers really become worried, and I think that the reason that they're worried is because another big change that's happened recently. In fact, things are so new that everything old is new again. So I would say, let's talk about a couple of the new things that I've seen recently. The old thing is relationships, right?
Yeah. That's nothing new.
Nothing new in the importance of relationships, right? However, I think what is new is how much more important that they've become because they've kind of gone virtual with the advent of social media and internet communications, whether it's with email or whether it's with video or even
Or mobile
using
phones.
mobile phones, all of these things. On the one hand, they separate us because we can work from our homes. Yet on the other hand, they force us to want to be together more often. And they force us to develop relationships a certain way. So what I think business owners will find is that whereas we meet for the first time face to face and we have to get to know each other, what happens is a lot of that initial getting to know you happens virtually. And so I think that there is an etiquette to that and there is a method to that.
Dentro de unos segundos. Ya volvemos. Ivana, good evening and welcome to my program. It's an honor to have you here.
And it is an honor to have you here. I'm really thrilled that you're visiting.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for accepting my invitation. Let me start by asking you, have you seen anything new in marketing?
Well, there are new things in marketing all the time.
Muy buenas noches, yo soy Carlos Fernando Villa y esta es la serie internacional 2013 de Tiempo de Mercadeo. En Cleveland vive una de las consultoras de mercadeo de mayor fama en el mundo. Ella es asiática, pero se residenció en esta ciudad del estado de Ohio. Con ella vamos a hablar sobre lo que son las estrategias del mercadeo en un momento como el que vive el mundo, complicado y difícil. Ivana Taylor está con nosotros.